Alright, let's get this one done. So today's homework is rather short. It's only two things, but it does require quite a few little steps that go along with it. So let's dive into it. We're supposed to graph both equations on the same coordinate plane and identify the point where they intersect. And I made a little note here saying that you may have to solve first, meaning you may have to solve for y first, because typically when you graph, you want your equation to be y equals mx plus b. I hope this form looks somewhat familiar. If it doesn't, learn it really quickly, like right now. So let's move on, and we'll focus here on number one. Our second one is already in y equals mx plus b, but the top one's not. So let's change the top one. We have to solve for y. Well, first thing I want to do is I should probably get rid of that 4x, because we're trying to get y by itself. So I'm going to add 4x to both sides, put it over there. Well, 6 and 4x don't really combine, so if we take things back down here, left side we got 2y, right side we got 6 plus 4x. I'm going to do 4x plus 6 because I can put either of them first, it doesn't matter. And now I need to divide by 2. And when you divide one side by 2, you have to divide the other side by 2. So now we got, on the right side, 4x plus 6, all divided by 2. When you have multiple things on top of your fraction and one thing on bottom, you need to take each item, each term in the top, and divide it by the bottom. So 2 is going to go into the 4x, and 2 goes into the 6. So you're going to get 2x, because 4x divided by 2 is 2x, plus 3. And that's because 6 divided by the 2 is 3. So now we got our two equations. We got our first one here that was already ready to go, y equals 3x plus 2, and we got y equals 2x plus 3. So let's graph these. You can draw your own coordinate plane. Yours probably won't have the grid lines. I just found this, and it'd be faster than me trying to draw it by hand, and hopefully look a little bit better. So as a reminder, we got one equation. Let's start with this one here, y equals 3x plus 2. This plus 2 bit here tells us the spot where our graph crosses the y-axis, and it crosses right here at positive 2. So there's going to be our first dot, and I don't know what methods you guys have used previously to graph things, but one that I use if I have my slope already is I look at that slope and I realize it's 3 over 1, so my rise will be 3 and the run will be 1. So I'm going to go right 1 and up 3. 1, 2, 3. And this is where we're going to put my second dot. You can put one the other way. You just have to go the opposite directions. So you can go left 1 and down 3, 2, 3. There'd be another dot. So here's this line here. And of course yours would be straight because you have something to help you draw straight. I don't really have that luxury. And we're going to graph our other one here. So that's how you can graph the first one. My second one, I have the graph y equals 2x plus 3. So I can put a dot at 3. And I have a slope of 2. And a slope of 2 is really 2 over 1. So I have a run of 1 and a rise of 2. So I go right 1, up 2. And look, there's a nice little intersection point that's already been done. And you can go the other way by going left 1 and down 2. Put another dot there for you. And so this is, whoops, that's not even right. Okay, goes like that one. So it's less steep than the previous graph, but you notice here is our intersection point, and that's the point 1, 5, because that's where those grid lines meet up. So our point of intersection is 1, 5. Ta-da! Oh, and it has those parentheses around it. Okay, moving on to our second one. once again, I need to get each of them in y equals mx plus b form. Let's deal with the top one. That's not in the form already. I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And now I got 2y equals 8 minus x. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Remember, you have to divide every piece of it by 2. So I'm going to get 4. 8 divided by 2. And when you have nothing with your x, it's 1x. So it's 1 over 2x, or 1/2 x. So this is my line, and here's my other line. I need to graph both of them. I'm going to graph the top one first. That's a slope of, a y-intercept of 2. So I'm going to put a dot at 2. And it has a slope of 1. If there's nothing in front of your x, then it's at 1. So right one, up 1, right one, up 1. These are all dots you can put down. Left one, down 1, dot, left one, down. Okay, these are all lovely dots. And you connect them with this beautiful line that, of course, I can't draw straight, but it looks something like that. Yeah. And my other one has a y-intercept of 4, so I put a dot there. Blam. And this one's a little bit different than the other ones. It has a negative slope, so this negative 1/2 in front of the x, that's going to be our slope. So when you're going negative, you're still going to go right 2, but then you're going to go down 1. So from my point here, I'm going to go right 1, I'm going to go right 2, and I'm going to go down 1. So there's going to be another point. I'm going to go right 2, down 1. Bam, there's another point. So our little graph here goes like so, waka-bam. And then this way, kablooey. It's going to have sound effects. And so my intersection point is somewhere here in the middle. And it's even harder to identify what it is right now. But it's looking like 1.5. So like 1.5. And 3.5? 3 1/2 is looking like what my point is. And that's one thing about graphing, is that it's not exact. Sometimes you have to guess, such as in this case. We think that's what the point is, because that's kind of what the graph looks like, but we don't know for certain. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And that's one of the problems with graphing, that unless you got like a calculator figuring it out, like a graphing calculator, finding out that actual point by the graph is actually really difficult. And that's it for today's homework.